Let's talk when you're done with your painting and you're ready to clean up. First of all, any painting that has been painted on at all that day must come over to the drying rack. Even if you think it's dry, even if you blow dried it, even if you've run your hand over it and nothing's coming up, if you painted on it that day, it must go on the drying rack. Paintings are at their most sticky when they're almost dry, and I can't tell you how many paintings I've ripped in half because they put it in their folder or they put it up against someone else's art when it was almost dry, and then it sticks to that painting, and sometimes they both get ripped in half. So we're just gonna play it really safe, and if you painted on it at all that day, it goes on the drying rack. Here's how you use the drying rack. So it might look like this, where there's one or two artworks on the shelf at that time, and then you're just gonna put your painting in the empty spaces. Well, let's say that you come over and the shelf is full. What you need to do then is you can set your art on the bookshelf over there so that you have your hands empty. You hold up the next shelf, move the box, let the next shelf fall, put the box in. It's not the most sophisticated system, but that's how we're doing it for now. So then you have an entire empty shelf to put your art on. Your art will never be on the drying rack when you come in the next time. It will never be on the drying rack when you come in the next time. There are all these shelves with art on them. Every morning I come in and I take the art off the shelves and I put them on the bookshelf. When you're ready to get your art back the next day, you're going to come over here to the bookshelf and you need to look at the tags. This one is A Day 7th grade studio art. This one is A Day 8th grade studio art. This one is B Day 7th grade studio art. That one is B Day 8th grade studio art. And if you are in a class like regular 8th grade art, then your art will be up there. If you're in a regular art class, I will take care of those art projects for you and keep them stored safely. Hi guys, I'm kneeling on the floor for this part because I want to show you when it's time for you to clean your paint palettes. If you have large amounts of paint left in your bubbles, and maybe even some that you haven't touched yet, and there's just a lot of paint left in there, I want you to put as much of your paint into the trash can as you can. It's really bad for the sinks to get all kinds of paint down them, so we try to limit it as much as possible. So you're going to come over to the trash can, turn it over, and you can use your paintbrush to just scoop as much of that paint into the trash can as you can. If there are a bunch of people surrounding this trash can because it's back here by the sinks, you can go do this in one of the other trash cans, but please don't get paint all over the wall. Now it's time to actually clean up all the things that you've used for painting that day. So you need to take your paint palette, your water cup, and all of your paint brushes to the sink. You need these three things: your paint palette, your water cup, and your paint brushes. All need to come back here to the sink. You're going to use, I'm gonna put my water cup in the sink. I'm gonna take my brush. I'm going to use my paintbrush to clean out the bubbles. I'm gonna show you how to do this without making a huge mess. If you set this in the sink and turn the water on, it's gonna spray all of that paint up and back towards you. It's going to get all over your clothes and it will stain. So we don't wanna do that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna tilt it away from you. So the bubbles should be facing the back wall. Then I'm gonna turn the sink on halfway. You don't need it on all the way. And then I'm just gonna use my brush to clean out the bubbles. So you put it under the water a little bit and use your brush to scrub out those bubbles. You can get it really, really clean with just your brush. Make sure we can't tell what color was in there at all. There's a little bit of black paint right there, even though I didn't use black paint. So I'm just gonna use my brush to clean up the last person's mess. Once your paint palette looks really nice and clean, you're gonna put your paint palette next to the sinks over there. So your paint palette goes back where it came from, next to the sinks over here. Then I'm going to clean my paintbrush inside my water cup. So I'm cleaning my paintbrush inside my water cup. I'm going to do this by dumping the water cup, refilling the water cup, swish, swish, swish. Ooh, I'm getting water. Swish with your paintbrush aggressively against the bottom of the cup. Dump it again. You can check your brush on the back of your hand. If you can tell what color was on that brush, then it's not clean enough. If it's not clean enough, just put a little more water in the cup, do a few more swishes, dump it, check it. when your water cup is empty and as clean as you can get it. They don't need to be perfectly clean, but it needs to be mostly clean. They go upside down next to the sink. So make sure that your cups are upside down. If you put them this way, then the water starts to dry in there and they can get a little bit stinky. So make sure that when your cup is clean, it goes upside down next to the sinks. Then your paintbrush goes hair up in the cup. Paintbrushes always go hair up in the cup. If you put your paintbrushes down, like this one is currently down, what happens is that the water starts to make the end all crusty, and it's really hard to use a crusty paintbrush. So when you have your paintbrush dry, or not dry, when you have your paintbrush clean, they go hair up in the cup. If your brush is a tall brush, don't put your tall brush in the short cup. Your tall brush goes in the tall cup. Ooh, I missed it. Tall brush goes in the tall cup. So we have tall brushes, we have short brushes. Brushes like this are kind of in between, so you make your choice. I'll put that one right there. It's a little tall for the small cup. And as a final reminder, painting is one of my favorite things to do with my art classes, but it can also be one of the messiest. We want to make sure that we're using things correctly because misusing paint can lead to stained clothes, ruined projects, and it can lead to a class being banned from paint. We don't want that to happen, so let's make sure that we're following all of those paint procedures. And as a final thing, we're going to make a solemn promise where you're going to say, I solemnly swear that I will put my paper towels in the trash can. I will not put them on the counters or in the sinks. So I'm going to say that part again because it seems a lot of people forget that. You put your paper towels in the trash can. You will not put your paper towels on the counter or in the sinks. Paper towels do not go in the sinks. If you make a mess with the paints, you will clean it up. Let's make those promises so that we can keep enjoying paint. And thanks so much.